Hello, welcome to Back to School Night, and I am your student's teacher. My name is Genevieve Giulio, and I teach English Language Arts 7th grade, and I also teach ELD 4. So I will talk a little bit about me and the class and why your student is in it. So, who am I, and who is she? I am their primary teacher, but we also have another teacher named Mrs. Malcolm, who will be she's a student teacher who will be working with us this whole school year. And slowly she will integrate more into our class as the year progresses, and she will be teaching some classes as well. But a little bit about me. I have been a teacher in Napa for 20 years, and I taught my first 10 years at the high school level, mostly at Napa High, and then I was the migrant education coordinator for a couple of years for our district, and then I came back to Silverado. Well, I was at Silverado before and after migrant ed, and so I've been a teacher at Silverado for about 10 years as well. I am your wonderful kids teacher, and I love animals, and I foster little kitties that need the support, and I am also a salsa dancer. So, what is ELD? Your student needs to finish the LPAC test. Well, they've done it. They need to take the test again this year, and they are going to pass it, I know. ELD 4 means they're at the very end of understanding the English language enough to be able to pass the test. And the test is given at the end of the school year. And the objective for ELD 4 is to build their language skills in reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So ELD is a class that helps students whose first language was not English, and our desire is to help move your student to a level so that they don't have a second English class next year. So everything that we do in class is practicing for the test, the way that they would test them, their reading skills, their reading comprehension, how well they write, and listening. We have listening practice embedded in class, and then they always have an opportunity to speak. We do use Study Sync in for ELD 4, but I also use other resources, but Study Sync is our main resource. And our class is all about being flexible and adaptable and communicative, because when you are working at home and teaching at home and learning at home, there's lots of different things that are happening, and that's okay. The most important thing for me is that I have a student that is fully engaged so that I can help them understand the new skills that we're practicing or get better at the skills they've practiced before so we can move them out of ELD 4. I make a joke, you kick your own self out of ELD 4. But truly, that's what they're doing. They're working so hard to master the skills at the level that they need, that they're doing the job. My job is to put the parts in place, and their job is to finish and make changes as they need. So the grading policy is 20% of each: knowledge and thinking, oral communication, collaboration, agency, and written communication. And notice that it's very similar to the 4 categories on the LPAC test that they need to pass too. We use Pear Deck and Google Classroom, and there are many ways that your student can be engaged in class. And important for me is that I can see their face. That's a school-wide expectation. and their whole face because I want to make sure they're engaged and I want to be able to ask them questions. Sometimes when students turn off their screens, they've left the room and I'm asking questions over and over again and they're not responding to me. So different ways for them to stay engaged is when I can physically see them, and it's just easier for me to teach instead of teaching to a black screen. The students can type in chat privately, so only I can read it. And that's really nice for the student who is a little more shy or timid and doesn't want to respond or doesn't feel comfortable with their response. I love responses. I love correct responses, incorrect responses, because it's practicing. That's engagement. And if you're in the practice part of our class, which is the formative part, then that's okay to make the mistakes because that's how you get better. So if you can share that with your child, then thank you so much. They can also chat to everyone so everybody can see their response, but they don't have to speak. They can also raise their hand virtually and they can respond in Pear Deck. That is agency. Every Pear Deck that we do in class and they answer questions on is agency. That's engagement. That's involvement. And then they also work sometimes in breakout rooms. And I'm seeing some really strong, great students getting better in the breakout rooms, specifically in this class too. They are engaging with each other. They're answering questions. Sometimes we're glitchy and the computer isn't working so well or the Wi-Fi isn't. So that's fine for students to chat. They just can chat, tell everybody, hey, I'm glitchy today, and that's fine. Any way that they're engaged and working with the topic that we have in class and on hand. So here's an example of what synchronous versus asynchronous looks like in our class. So together, we have been reading about this topic, what is a just society? And are we in a fair or unfair society? So the students just read with me an article or a portion of an article on the wage gap based on gender. So then after we worked together, then they went into breakout rooms and talked together about what they noticed. You can see down below here what they noticed, what was surprising. And we went from me teaching it and showing them how to read a graph, because on the LPAC test, they need to be able to look at a graph, any kind of graphic, and give and share information about that graphic. Then they went in a breakout room and worked together and shared ideas. And then we came back together as a class and shared out. And then we practiced with another different image that they needed to find information about, a chart that they needed to find information about, and I asked them questions about it. So after we do the direct teach, then it's the student's opportunity in the asynchronous time or independent time to show me what they've learned. So the homework tonight was to write a paragraph, or the asynchronous work tonight was to write a paragraph explaining why equal pay is important for a just society. So now we have facts and details that we found to support this position of what makes a fair society, or what parts are unfair in society. But this next bullet here is not reviewing what we've learned as much as them getting prepared for our next class. We can't do all the reading in class together. We don't have enough time. So they need to be making sure that they're doing the work before we come to class, because I can't do the reading while we're in class. So please make sure that they're doing their asynchronous work too, so that they're ready for the very next class. So lastly, I think that it's important that kids do better when we all work together and when the kids involved in making changes too. So thank you so much for your participation. I've had some parents already, so great getting engaged and asking questions and connecting. So thank you. What you can do is check your child's planner, and I have not been great about having them write in their planner. It is an expectation, but I keep forgetting it. I can get better. But you can look in their Google Classroom, ask them to open their Google Classroom, and you can see all of the assignments for our class and whether they've completed them or not. You can ask them to open up Study Sync, and ELD4 we have not used Study Sync too much yet, but we will be soon. There's a couple of assignments they've completed. And then lastly, you can check in Aries for their final points score. And if I could share again that if they're going to be learning virtually, they're going to be more successful the more engaged they are. So I'm trying to change up what I'm doing and breaking it up into small little bits so they are maintaining that engagement, but I need their participation too, and that means putting away their phones. And I've heard videos on, I've heard movies on, so really help me to indicate to them how important it is that they stay focused with the class that we're doing, especially because we want to help them kick themselves out of ELD4. If you would like to contact me, Parent Square is the best method for me because all the parent contact is in that spot, but you can also email me. And if you have any questions about our class, then you're welcome to complete this survey and I'll respond. And I wish us a great year, and I wish us wonderful collaboration in helping move your student forward academically and being the best they can. And I am happy at the end of the year if I can kick them out of ELD4. You know what I mean.